We're gonna do a little bit something different this time for this video. I've been doing very scripted videos, and well, actually the first couple of videos I did were a little bit of a combination of scripted and kind of just ranting and talking, and then I decided to get a little bit more precise, and I started scripting everything. So now this video is just going to be completely off the cuff, and I'm going to look at a couple of different videos and just comment on them on certain aspects of the video. So we're going to start here with Newt Gingrich, and we're going to see what he has to say.
All right. You mentioned gasoline. Since the end of 2011, the price of gasoline has gone up 8%, and the rise of gasoline prices doesn't hurt the rich. They can pay it, but it really does pinch the middle class and people who don't make who are even below the middle class line, and it can put a thumb on the economy. If you're president of the United States tonight, what would you be doing about gas policy, and when would those prices come down?
Well, gasoline was $1.13 a gallon when I was Speaker. It was $1.89 when Obama was sworn in. It is in California above $4 today in some places. The fact is... Okay,
I'm going to stop him right there. The reason why the gas prices were extremely low when, or relatively low when Obama took office, was because they crashed the freaking economy and it brought demand down. Go back and look. It was actually brought on. What preceded the crash were high gas prices. Just go back and look. So he's cherry-picking the data there. That's really a dishonest tactic, but maybe we shouldn't be surprised.
One, I'd sign the Keystone Pipeline immediately to start Canadian oil moving south into the United States.
Yeah, that was the subject of my last video, and it's not going to affect gas prices. Either he just doesn't know what he's talking about, or he's just being completely dishonest. Again, I'm not sure which one. Neither one would surprise me. If you want to watch that last video I did, it explains why it's not going to affect gas prices in any significant way. It actually may make it a little bit worse for certain people in the United States. It's not about gas prices at all. So just watch my video if you want to learn more.
Two, I'd open up offshore development, both off, for example, the Gulf of Mexico, but also in the Chukchi Sea and Alaska. Three, I would open up federal lands. The one great breakthrough has been North Dakota, and the reason is it's on private land, and the liberals have not been able to stop it. If we allowed federal land to be developed, we would have a shocking amount of energy. We would, in fact, rapidly become independent of the Middle East. No American president would ever again bow to a Saudi king, and we get gasoline prices back down to $2 or $2.50. We could eliminate CAFE standards. You don't need CAFE standards if, in fact, you're moving towards inexpensive gasoline.
We don't need CAFE standards. The guy's delusional, okay? Just give it up. Everybody knows that the days of cheap energy are over. The days of cheap oil are completely done. He's saying $2 to $2.50. You know where he's getting those numbers? Out of his rear end. He doesn't have. That's the reason why he's not citing anything to back that up, because he doesn't have anything to back that up. He's just saying that. He's just throwing it out there because he knows about half of the people are stupid enough just to believe it. If anybody believes that, I feel sorry for you. I really do. Yeah, it's complete bogus. First of all, the North Dakota recent uptick in production is a complete result of having high prices. That's because that shale requires high prices for it to be economically feasible in the first place. You just cannot get that out without spending a certain amount of energy, that is money, to get it done. It's extremely intensive from an energy standpoint and an environmental standpoint. It requires a ton of water and so forth. So it's just not that easy. You just can't get this stuff pumped out that easy. And when these drilling, the drilling that's going on now is so intensive, but it's also, once you drill something, it's done pretty quick, and then you have to move on. You have to just keep drilling and drilling and drilling. It's not like a conventional well. It doesn't work the same way. So So, yeah, that's really beside the point. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with getting prices lower because it requires high prices in the first place. And in federal lands, I think the biggest possibility we have for increasing federal lands is ANWR. And if you look at the EIA studies on ANWR, it would not produce any sort of effect at the gas pump. None whatsoever. I think it would be a few cents on a barrel of oil. So it's just at it, and that's at its peak, by the way, of production. So it just doesn't stand to reason that any of this makes any sense. And plus, look at this graph. You know, we peaked on production way back in 1970, and it's been declining ever since. That's because our wells have been declining. That's just a fact. There's nothing you can do about that. It's pretty much we're in a state of depletion, and it never comes back again. Now, Obama's been in office, and since Obama's been in office, the production has gotten an uptick. But if Newt thinks that he's going to get somehow magically our production back up to close to 10 million barrels a day, then he's just dreaming. It's not going to happen. We're at a like an 8-year high or something like that. But it's going to go back down. It doesn't matter who the president is. This is just physical limitations that we're dealing with here. It's nothing more. And a lot of that uptick is, again, because of the increase in the shale production, which, again, that requires a high gas prices. So let's listen into the rest here.
All right. I mean, those are broad policies that are going to, I understand that, but people who are going to gas pump today, they want it down yesterday, and so I'm curious, is there anything you could do to get them down in the next month? The prices down because these prices are going up. Okay. Is there anything, or is that asking something that can't be done?
No, look, there's a big futures pricing factor in gasoline and in oil. They're very much affected by the uncertainty of the Straits of Hormuz and what Iran has been doing. If the American president tonight announced that he was opening up the Gulf of Mexico, where we already have all the rigs available, if he announced that we were going to 100% expensing so people could write off all the new equipment in 1 year, and if he announced that they were going to open up federal lands, you would see the futures expectation of gasoline prices start to drop tomorrow morning. And you would pretty rapidly start lowering the price of gasoline. It might take up to a year. When Reagan deregulated gasoline, and which is the very first executive order of his presidency, it took about 6 months for prices to collapse. So I think if you opened up the market, you would see gas prices starting down pretty dramatically. And I think that if people knew that the United States was once again going to become the largest oil and gas producer in the world, you would rapidly see prices accommodate, and you could within a year see prices down at $2.50 or so, which is, I think, a stable investment price, occasionally dropping down to as low as $2, but running in the $2 to $2.50 range.
Okay, yeah, there's just no reason to believe any of that. No reason whatsoever. Yes, the futures has an effect on prices, but the basic thing that's going on here is just supply and demand, just like always. And what's happening is that we have peaked on conventional sources of oil. So that means oil is more expensive now, and it's not going to get any better, Newt. It's not going to get any better. And let's listen to what Bill O'Reilly has to say about this.
The next time you hear a politician say he or she will bring down oil prices, understand it's complete BS.
Okay, so now we're going to compare and contrast Newt Gingrich with Obama. And what you're going to hear from Obama isn't really, hard level reality, but it's very subtle, what he's saying. So let's take a listen.
All told, the entire industry has added more than 200,000 new jobs over the past 2.5 years. And they're not just building cars again, they're building better cars. Thanks to new fuel efficiency standards we put in place, they're building cars that will average nearly 55 miles per gallon by the middle of the next decade. That's almost double what they get today. That means folks will be able to fill up every 2 weeks instead of every week, saving the typical family more than $8,000 at the pump over time. That's a big deal, especially as families are yet again feeling the pinch from rising gas prices. So what's happening in Detroit will make a difference, but it won't solve everything. There's no silver bullet for avoiding spikes in gas prices every year. There's no shortcut to taking control of our energy future. We have to pursue an all-of-the-above strategy that helps develop every source of American energy, and we have to do it now. The good news is we've been making progress. Here, take a look at this chart. 6 years ago, 60% of the oil we used was imported. Since I took office, America's dependence on foreign oil has decreased every single year. In fact, in 2010, for the first time in 13 years, less than half the petroleum we consumed was imported. Part of that's because we're producing more oil here at home than at any other time in the last 8 years. But we can't just drill our way out of this problem. While we consume 20% of the world's oil, we only have 2% of the world's oil reserves. We've got to develop new technologies that will help us use new forms of energy. That's been a priority of mine as president. And because of the investments we've made, our use of clean, renewable energy has nearly doubled, and thousands of Americans have jobs because of it.
Okay, so I'm going to stop him right there. If you, and there's not a lot that I just disagree with from him there. I think we do have to have, well, we don't really have any choice, in my opinion. We do have to have a multi-tiered approach. And to what this represents here is two totally different frameworks. The delusional, we can just keep on going and going and going with oil. We can get, we can just drill more, and then the prices will be cheaper, and we don't have to worry about it. That's just delusional stuff at this point. It's not realistic. Obama, if you just listen to him, it's very subtle. But I think he knows what's going on. I think he is well aware that we have peaked, or we're close to peak in production overall. We definitely peaked on conventional sources. And so to me, that means that it's just going to get more and more expensive because all of the oil that, you'll every year you'll have less and less of the cheap stuff, and you'll have more and more of the expensive stuff. So, it's just common sense. It's really interesting to listen to him talk, and if you just listen closely, you can sort of tell, that that's what's going on. And he's right that production has increased. A lot of that is because the price is higher. We're exporting a lot of fuel, refined fuel. So we bring a lot of it in, and we use a lot of it, and we export some of it too. So it's a world commodity, and nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to get any better. It's just going to keep getting worse. And by the way, I don't want to this channel. I don't want it to be like. I know it looks that way. I know it looks this way right now, but I don't want it to be a partisan channel where I'm slamming the Republicans and I'm Democrats. I'm on their side. I'm not. It's real. I'm really not like that. But on the subject of energy, it just so happens that the Republicans are just really off base and just not really facing reality on it. And unfortunately, when they come out and say stuff, I have to call them out on it. It's not that I want to be partisan, but in this case, at least, I think the president is correct. And I'm not like big Obama cheerleader. I'm not trying to be that way. That's the unfortunate thing. And that's why I want to point out that this isn't Democrat versus Republican channel here. If a Democrat comes out and says some anti-science nonsense, or something that's just factually incorrect, that's an important subject on energy or something like that, and I'm going to come out and say something against that. And it doesn't matter to me if what party somebody is on or what philosophical viewpoint they're coming from. I'm just trying to get to what's real and what's really going on. And what I see going on is mostly in the press is trying to cheerlead for the old way of doing things. And I think it's very nice, it's very provocative, but we have to be careful, because what happens is we have a natural confirmation bias. So I would just love to think that we could get our prices down to $2 a gallon. It would help me a lot personally. You know, I don't like having to spend a lot at the gas pump, but you know, we got to be realistic. You know, and I don't want to just believe something just because I want to believe it. I want to believe what's true, and hopefully everyone listening right now feels the same way. So, you know, I don't have a lot of subscribers, so I don't even know who I'm talking to. I think I have like 4 at this point, which is a joke. But hopefully that'll change, and I'm gonna try to pick up the production on this channel and get more videos out there. I just wanted to do this type of video so that I could maybe try something different and just sort of ramble and see how it goes. So hopefully it was good. Hopefully it worked out. We'll find out, I guess. Anyway, thank you for listening.